Hello, hello, welcome to the Bloomz live at 5. We have Steve from Wacky Lamps. He'll be doing the last fix of his weightlifting lamp today. So just wait for Steve to come on. Oh, he's here. Just wait for him to request. And there he is. Oh, look, he's on form today. He's super quick. Where is he then? So we've got, oh, let's try again. That, Steve, your account said it was declined. Sounds, let me see if I can request you. See if that's doing.
I've always been declined things in my life. People don't want me on. Yeah, for some reason, we had this discussion earlier, didn't we, on text about Instagram playing up at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the moment that I put a request to join you there, it wanted to join me as my test account. It automatically joined me as my test account. Anyway,
I don't know.
I think you've joined as Wacky Lamps, have we?
We have. We are Wacky Lamps now. I hope we are. Not any other account
today. Last one about.
I know. I'm going to miss you.
Oh yeah, like hell.
I will see you Tuesday though.
You'll see me Tuesday because we have a what do you call it on Tuesday?
A closing interview.
Yeah, an interview, but a Q&A. So if anybody's got any questions that I haven't answered over the last 3 or 4 weeks, then that's the time to send them in. Go on to the Bloomz Art House page, pose your question, and we'll do our best to answer it. Clean questions only, please.
All related to your lamp building?
Yes, my lamp building, my art, whatever. Yeah, so, yeah.
All right, I will let you get on with it, and I will see you in half an hour.
All right, my darling, take care. See you later. Right, folks, welcome to the last of the lamp builds. Big welcome to those of you that have joined already. Who have we got on already? We have got a few people. I can't scroll up this, but I can see my friends over in Toledo have joined us. Toledo Lamp Company. Hello there, Mitch and Scott over there. Hope you're both well. Anybody else that's on there, I can't scroll up, unfortunately. So if I do miss saying hello to you, I do apologise. But we're going to continue and finish off and hopefully get to work the lamp that I've been working on over the last 4 weeks, which was to build a lamp from scratch over the 4 weeks. Obviously, I've done bits in between, but only taking what I've shown you a little bit further. Haven't done anything else other than that. And we are aiming to make a lamp that I'm calling 3 white lights, which is what you get if you have a good snatch or a good clean and jerk. No laughter, please, Sammy. So that's what we're aiming to do, a lamp that is pretty well an interpretation of this weightlifting lady here. So how far have we got? Well, last week, before I show you the whole lamp, last week we got to the stage where we wired it up on the insides in the base to put in the touch sensor module, because of course most of my lamps have a touch sensor ability, which means you can touch anywhere on the lamp, even if it's painted, because I use special paint that's got a metallic element in it, so you can touch anywhere on the lamp to get the lamp to come on. It could be a one-way switch where you get just one yes, one, you know, off and on, or it could be three-way, so you get 1, 2, 3 levels of lighting. This at the moment is a 3-way. If somebody internationally buys it from me, I'll change the touch sensor relay to a 1-way, because in some countries, because of the voltage difference, you might not get the same reaction. But I know that 1-way off and on works, but it's the 3-way. So let me show you by turning this here thing around. We can probably, I've got it set up here, so you should be able to see, if I come in a bit closer, what we were doing. He doesn't want to make you see sick by bringing it down too far. But you should see down here, we have the, oops, there we go, oh, there we go. We've got the gubbins in here. So that there is the touch sensor module. We've got all the connections here, and the yellow there, the yellow earth wire there, doesn't go to the earth on the plug. It just earths to anywhere on the lamp. It goes through a hole and connects to the base plates of the foot under there, as we will see. So I just wanted to show you that because that's where we finished off last week. I know I had a little bit of a trying to get the connector with the bit of wire wool in, because that was my tip for how to make sure you get a really good connection with a touch sensor switch, is to put a little tiny, I mean, I'm talking about 10 strands maybe of wire wool around the screw and in the screw socket on the base, because that ensures that you've got a connection there. And when you screw the nut down, it compresses the wire wool against the side, against the screw itself, and you're pretty well impossible not to get a good connection there. So we're just putting these screws back in here, and then we will show you, because what I did do, because it takes a bit of time for the glue to set, is I did use some epoxy glue to fit the bulb holder into the top of the lamp, as you'll see, into the face of this here weightlifter. Now, this could be a weightlifting gentleman, it could be a weightlifting lady, it could be a gender neutral weightlifter. My lamps are pretty well gender neutral, so you can, whoever you want it to be, it could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be a fellow athlete, it could be your dad that used to do weightlifting in the 1950s and won a medal at the Olympics, whatever. It could be anything you want it to be, because this isn't a particular person. Sometimes I get commissions, because I must say, for those of you that don't know, I do commissions. I sometimes get commissions to do actual people. So then I have to look at the poses in the photographs that are given me. There you are. So let's turn it upside down and show you what we have got now. So here is the weightlifter. Let me move the thing on a bit and back a little bit so you can see the full range of it. So there we are. So you can see how far we got last time. Let's pass me wire. We haven't put a plug on it yet, so I've no idea if it works. But that is the weightlifter, and you can see, if you look at the side, we have perfectly straight. I'm a bit of a pedant when it comes to getting things looking exact. So straight arms, but slightly bent forward, which is how we have here. Straight arm and slightly bent forward, which is what a weightlifter. So I've studied the weightlifting on the YouTube to make sure I got this right. Leg outstretched here before the final lift up. So this is 3/4 of the way through the lift. I think it just gives a little bit more motion to it, a little bit more pose for motion. Hiya there, Darren. How you doing? Right, so I'm going to take this pot off here now so I can do the next little bit. Now, the next little bit is something that I cottoned on to right at the start of my lamp making, which was the cable. I like everything to be in sync and looking correct, looking right, looking as though it's meant to be there. So black cable, white cable like this doesn't look particularly either industrial or robotic. So what I do is I have got a Kevlar vest, I call it, for this. And what it basically is, it's a polymer sleeve for the wire, for the cable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have the most boring bit of Instagram Live. I shall talk to you whilst I'm threading the cable up here. I couldn't do it before because you really want to see how this works. So this stretches, I think it's about up to, it's 4 mil, and it will go up to 12 mil. So it'll stretch 3 times the size it is now. So I have covered the ends of the cable in some tape. So basically all you do is you start it off, and we simply do this for about 5 minutes or so. But I'm going to talk to you as we do this, because you know me, I just can't shut up. So we will still carry on talking while I'm doing this. So as you will have seen, if you've looked at either my feed or you looked at the feed of the Bloomz Art House Collective today, it's the start this week. It's been the start of my last week as Artist of the Month, which has been a great, great 3 weeks, because it's made me concentrate on looking at lamps that I've done in the past. And in doing that, it's given me ideas for other lamps. So sometimes it is worth going back over what you've done occasionally. We're getting there. And just sort of revisiting some of your old work. And I know with some artists, revisiting their old work isn't a good thing, because your art evolves, and my art has certainly evolved over the last 2 or 3 years, from what I would now call quite basic pipe lamps at the beginning, which I thought were fantastic and still do, because every stage in your artistic journey is valid, completely valid at that stage. So I would never think, oh my God, that lamp looks horrific now, because it doesn't. It was what I was doing at the time. It was using the components that I got at the time, and now I've moved on. Some people like more basic lamps. Some people go for lamps that are a little bit more detailed. This robotic lamp here of the Weightlifter is somewhere in between. It's got no other attributes like clothing or any paintwork on it. It's just a robotic lamp of a weightlifter. I say just. I've put some brass work on there because I do think that the brass and the silver goes together. As we spoke last week about the choice of the colour for the base, I think that's important, to get the colour for the base, so that you've got something that matches the design. So this weightlifter, you wouldn't want a coloured base. You'd want something that looks a bit sort of oak floory, because it could be on the floor of a gym where it's sort of old wooden flooring. So that's what I've gone for with this. We're nearly there. Now the good thing about this is that when you pull it down, it feeds down and down and down. So we've actually only got about 6 inches, 15 centimeters for those of our European friends. But for me in old money, you notice quite a lot of the time I do talk in the old imperial measurements. That's because of my age, really. I was brought up in an era. We were talking about this the other day, Steph and I, about we were lucky, really, very lucky, because we were brought up at that time when we changed from imperial to metric. So we know both. We've experienced both. And in my mind, I would much rather have the imperial system, because how many factors of 12 are there? A lot more than 10. You've got 2 and 5. You've got 3, 4, 6, 2 into 12. Let's not get on that. Let's now have a look at where we've got to here. So I'm confident now that I can cut this off, because I've got as far as I'm going to get. So I'm going to cut that off with a bit of one of these. This cut's very easy, but what it does do, apart from the looks, it does protect the cable from damage. This is quite a hard-wearing polymer coat on here. It will withstand a lot of rubbing, and it doesn't wear away. It looks good, whereas sometimes if an ordinary cable gets pulled against a bit of furniture, it could just mark it. It looks a bit crap then. So let's bend this around, this camera, take it down again, and show you what we're doing with this now. So hopefully we can see it down there. What I shall do, I shall bring my little box of whatever back, so we can put it on here again, so you can see exactly what we're doing. All right, can we all see this? So now we've got this here. We've got the cable covering there, but we're left with this frayed edge here. Now the frayed edge will continue to fray, and if I didn't do something with that, it'll fray all the way along here, and eventually it will look a really mess. Soldering iron, brilliant. Start at the soldering iron. And within a few minutes, you've got a little air hole in the soldering iron there. Look, you see that little hole there? He says not want to burn his fingers. That hot air comes from there, just enough to melt together the top of this so that it won't unravel any further. You don't need to do it too much, just to stop it unraveling like that. And that's all it needs. And then we just clip off the residue here of the bits of strands of polymer, and because it's melted and it sets very quickly, so you're not going to burn your hands, but do always be careful when you're dealing with a flame and everything. It's not a nice thing to get melted polymer on your skin. So there we are, just clip off the rest of those little bits there. And there we have it. So that there now, I know I've got a bit on here, so if I push this down, you will see that the end of it will disappear into the routed out area. So I'm going to pull it down a bit further to make sure that that then goes right inside there. And I'm going to push it inside gently with a screwdriver to make sure it fits in there perfectly. Push that right down there. So now I know that there's no cable going to come out of there. Now to keep this in place, I have got a cable clip here. That's not going to be big enough. I need a slightly larger one. So I should find one from in here. There we go. And I do love little hammers. Look at that little hammer there. Beautiful. That was my granddad's hammer, that was. It's as good as it was when he had it. It's only had 3 new heads and 2 new handles, so it's brilliant. So we just put a cable clip over there and gently we just turn it over to get the round bit so we don't knock the base. And that holds that perfectly steady in there. So now when we turn it back up, we can instantly see that the cable looks a lot better. It's covered in this Kevlar vest, as I call it. So now we can get on and we can wire up the plug. Again, not something that's, oh, you see, I'm going to show you on here. This is what I've done since I put the bulb holder in there. And as I said last week, the bulb holder that I use fits perfectly inside the 1.25 inch to inch reducing elbow there. Just have to cut a little bit off the end of it where you would screw it onto a batten. So I just cut the end off the brass thing at the back there because there was like a 1/2 inch sticking out, and that does disappear into there perfectly. And the shade ring I glue first of all onto the thread with a little bit of Gorilla Glue, a little bit of super glue, and then I fix the whole thing to here using epoxy resin, the 5-minute epoxy resin, which sometimes takes slightly longer than 5 minutes to set. So now we're going to wire it up. Now you could, there's other things. It's funny, when I start doing a lamp, all of a sudden I get, oh, what I could have done with is this, this and this. And then realize that the what I could have done bits would probably double the price of the lamp, which I didn't want to do. But I was thinking, because I'm calling this lamp 3 white lights, I could, of course, have set up a little bit at the back with LEDs and 3 white plastic discs, translucent discs, so that it shines through and give 3 white lights. But that is actually quite a bit of work to do that. We're gonna just, come on. There we go. So I'm just gonna sear this off again here. Again, not doing it too much, just so it sort of gets rid of those bits on there. And then we'll be able to snip this off here and then pop it into the plug. So I was saying about the base, I could have done that, but I could also have talked to the client, and if this was a commission lamp, and say, okay, I'm doing this for you. What's your decor like in your lounge? What would you like as the colour of the base? Do you want it Indian rosewood? Do you want it antique pine? I mean, I have my ideas of what it should be, but of course, if a lamp is being commissioned, then a lot of the decisions can be down to the client who's commissioned the lamp. So you haven't necessarily got to abide by what I want. You might think, no, I actually want it to be Indian rosewood because it's going on an Indian rosewood sideboard, and therefore that's what I need it to be. Now, standard black plug, I go for the older looking plug because, again, this is almost steampunky, I suppose, this sort of lamp. It's steampunk covers a vast range of different things, but ideally it is a combination of Victorian industrial. So in this case, it's the pipework, which gives it that industrial feel, with sort of modern day sci-fi fantasy. So the robotic nature of it, the lamp, I suppose it does qualify as steampunk. No one's ever said to me, no, your lamps aren't steampunk. So I don't sort of say they're steampunk. I call them character lamps, artistic illuminated character lamps. The mouthful, isn't it? So in a moment, we're heading towards the moment of truth. How are we doing for time? I think we're all right. And then we will talk about the lamp and what to do with what I do with it before I sell it, or before I get it ready for sale, should I say. So we're just popping this into, wiring up a plug doesn't make very good Instagram lives, does it? Let's be honest. Because, but nevertheless, it's important to get it right. No rushing of it. Make sure your connections are in. There's no bare wires. And always, 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 always use the right fuse, which in this case is a 3-amp fuse. Don't think by using a larger fuse you're protecting it. You're not. You're actually doing the opposite. The smaller the fuse, the less it takes to blow that fuse. And what you want blowing, if there's any problems, is the fuse and not the lamp, not the bulb in the lamp. So, and also make sure you use the cable clamp here, like I'm doing here. There's a cable clamp provided, and it's there for a reason. It's to stop somebody stepping on the cable while it's in the plug socket and pulling the whole damn thing out, and the two wires touching. There's a big bang and smoke, and before you know it, you've got a problem. So cable clamp is, and I usually give it a good tug on there to make sure there's no leeway at all. So it's always brown or red in some countries to the live terminal where the fuse is, blue, which is the neutral. It could be black in some countries, to the neutral terminal. And notice we are not using a 3-core cable because the earth is actually on the lamp itself. You don't always need an earth with a low wattage bulb, but you've got the earth because you're earthing it yourself. So there we are. So let's move that out of the way. So we're almost ready for testing it now, because we have the lamp built there. We're happy with the way it looks. We've got the touch sensor switch in there, and we've got the plug. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a bulb in. And again, choice of bulbs, there's lots of different choices of bulbs you could use. Here I'm using a round bulb with a spiral in it. Now, again, the choice of the bulb that you can use is quite interesting, because you could use, oops, where are we going? You could use any bulb, but with any sort of filament in it. But I tend to prefer, I call it the speaking filament. If someone was singing, I would put a squirrel cage filament bulb in with lots of strands, because it looks powerful. This is someone who's probably going, so this is the vocal filament. You'll see what I mean in a minute when I put it on. So we're going to screw it into there and have a little look at it to make sure it's nicely firmly in there. Don't overscrew these old filament bulbs, they're reproduction. Don't over screw them in, because you could break them. And there we have, just to make sure you see it looking good from the side, looking good. So we're now going to plug it in over here. Bang! No, me, sorry. So now, so as I said, it's got a touch sensor in it. So ideally, and here is where the test comes in, if I touch this anywhere, it should turn on. Here we go. But 1, 2, 3 levels of lighting. Now we'll give you a little turn around here. Can we change? We can change the cameras around here, just so you can have a little look at it from all sides here. Where are we? There we go. There he is. She is. It is. There we are. So you see, anywhere, even on the ends of here, you can touch these, the painted bits here, because the paint I use has a metallic element in it. So you can touch anywhere on this lamp to get your 1, 2, 3 levels of lighting. So there it is. Now, what do I do now before what we have to do for time? We're okay, 20, oh, we've got a couple of minutes, 77, yeah. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the starts of it. I don't need to do any adjustments. I'm happy with the base. It actually has survived well, because often when I've stained the base and then put it on and start working on the wiring, it gets knocked about a bit, but there's no marks on there. You can see the lovely grain on the lamp base there. That's what I love to see in one of my bases. They look nothing like that, of course, when they're not stained. And then you use the stain and it goes in and you have a wonderful colouring on there. So let me turn it back to here, back to me. hopefully. And turn it around here. Now, what do we do before we say, well, if this is, I'm going to turn him off now. If this is looking okay, I might not do anything with it. I might not do any polishing, but sometimes there can be a bit of time between when I make the lamp and when I finish it off, and often it can go a bit dull. Let me unplug it, because every time I touch it, it's going to, obviously, the lighting's going to come on. So what I've got is some top tips for cleaning metal lamps like this. Do not use Brasso or any cheap metallic polish, because that can do with galvanized metal. It can have more damaging effect than good effect. What I use, and you can get it in smaller tubes, you wouldn't need the tin as big as this. It's called Mass, M-A-A-S, Mass, and it is the best metal polish that I've ever found. But I don't use it all the time, because this at the moment probably doesn't need it, but I'm going to just show you, if I can, the effect that it has on here. So what I'm going to do is to pop the top off. I'm going to get my little cleaning rag. So this is, you don't have to wear gloves with this. It's not got any abrasive chemicals to your skin in it and horrible in it. And you don't need much of it either, a little tiny bit. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit on the chest area here. And you'll know if it's bringing anything off, because when I move the cloth away, if there should be some black on the cloth, which is where it's actually removing bits that you can't see from the surface. And there we are. Look at that on that cloth there. And I thought that was clean. There we are. Now I get the polishing cloth and give it a good rub with that. The problem is now you're probably not going to be able to see as much as I can here. Give it a good rub. And I'm not sure whether you can see, it is absolutely gleaming there now. You probably can't see how much it's gleaming on there. You probably can't, but it is. So, but you knew from looking at the muck on here how much it brings off. You don't need much of it. If you buy any mass, it will last you forever, because you need a little tiny bit. So there we are. That is my lamp, my weightlifting lamp. Let's just move it back so you get a last little look at it. We'll plug it in again, and then Sammy will join me back online any second now, I presume. There we are. Let's turn him on again. There we go. Hey, Sammy.
He's fabulous, or she's fabulous.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It worked out well. It works. You see, we've got the touch sensor. It looks good from the point of view of the profile of it. Looks as though it really is getting that lamp, getting that weight lifted up, ready to get its 3 white lights for a good lift. There we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
brilliant.
There we are. So we managed to do it over the 4 weeks, which has been incredible. There were no real issues there at all. We managed.
You got me excited when I heard the bang, and then I saw you moving again.
Thank you. Sometimes that does happen. If there's some, we're not fallible, and sometimes the fuse will blow and there'll be a bit of a bang, or sometimes when if in putting the bulb holder in, I have maybe caught them, because when you push the bulb holder in, you got the wires at the back. Sometimes they can catch and pull out and touch together, so when I touch it, I get a shock. That's happened many times. This is why my hair is this color. It was grey before I started doing this lamp building. So that's worked out really well. And say people could have a brass plaque engraved. I can do those to put on the lamp if it's for somebody, or if they have a famous weightlifter they like. You won't remember this, but I'm going to wonder if Claire might remember this. When I was growing up, there was a weightlifter, and he used to be on Blue Peter. He was called Precious Mackenzie. Little tiny guy, little tiny black guy. He was fabulous. Does anybody remember Precious Mackenzie? You won't remember him, Sammy. You're far too young.
The only one I remember is The World's Strongest Man with Jeff Capes.
Oh, Jeff Capes and his budgies. He keeps budgies. He's a really good breeder of budgerigars, Jeff Capes.
Oh, okay.
And I remember going to a garden show after he'd done his stint as World's Strongest Man and all that. I went to a big garden show at the NEC in Birmingham, and there he was in the pet section with his budgies. Tiny budgies. I suppose you got to get lunch somewhere, haven't you?
Oh, Claire's saying she's old. She doesn't recognise the name.
I might have told you about it, Claire. Look up Precious Mackenzie. We're talking about the 60s, talking about the late 60s, or when when did Blue Peter start? That was 60s. Yeah.
That was in the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Precious Mackenzie was a weightlifter. I remember him now, a little guy. Yeah. There was also another guy I remember who, I forget who it was, but his pecs here, he could move them to music.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Just yeah. Remember from your childhood, eh? I've been trying that for years and it doesn't work for me. Bits of me move, but not me pecs.
Ooh.
I was born in the 70s. Oh, well, of course you wouldn't remember it, Claire. Of course you wouldn't. Late 70s? No, you wouldn't remember that at all. Have a look. Look on the internet. Precious Mackenzie. There we are.
Right, so we've done the whole build. Everyone can follow it if they've missed it. We've got it on YouTube, on the Bloomz YouTube. We've got it on the Bloomz Instagram, and obviously on our Facebook page as well.
And I should be posting it. I should be taking photographs probably later on today and posting it up and sharing it with the Bloomz as well. Brilliant.
Excellent. And so that's it, Steve.
Yeah.
Until Tuesday.
Until next Tuesday, when we'll have the last Q&A, and then who's our Bloomz Artist of the Month next month? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's someone who's very, very talented.
I think somebody that I might be interviewing for the Bloomz Artist Collective.
I think so.
I think I might be. It's you, Sammy Extra Andrews. We've got you under the spotlight for 4 weeks.
Yes, for 4 weeks.
Can't wait.
But at the moment, this is all about you, Steve.
It's
so if we have just one more look at your lamp before we go.
One more look at dear old Precious Mackenzie here. There we are. 3 levels of lighting. 1, 2, 3 and off. So if you use it as a bedside lamp, no fumbling about in the dark in your bedroom. You can just reach over and no matter where you touch him, be careful, don't want to touch him, he will come on. There we go. That's it. Stop laughing. Stop laughing, you.
Okay.
Thank you, Claire.
See you on Tuesday. There's going to be hopefully lots of people come in with their questions. I've got a couple already.
I will be on Sunday.
5 o'clock.
Back on Sunday with my live, and I have a guest this week, another artist called Chelony. Chelony, she's a Dutch artist, and she does wonderful. I think a lot of her paintings are based on black people, but they are fantastic. Really nice, sort of joyful paintings she does. So look out for Chelony. I'll be sort of doing a post about it on Friday.
Excellent. All right. Okay. I'll see you later, Steve. Bye.
Thanks, Sammy. Cheers.
Bye. So there you go. So there you go. That's Steve. He's done an amazing job. I think you'll think so too. Of building the lamp over the 4 weeks live on Instagram. I mean, we only have half an hour. So yeah, I know he does a little bit in between times, but I think it was only the polishing that he really did last time in between. So like I say, you can catch up on our Instagram page, on our Bloomz Facebook page, and also all the videos are being posted to our Bloomz YouTube channel. So we'll see you again live on Tuesday, 11 o'clock for the closing interview with Steve, who's at the moment coming to the end of our Artist of the Month. So thank you ever so much for watching and see you later. Bye-bye.